So I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, and she has this one song called Invisible String that I love. Now, if you're not familiar with it or not a Swiftie, just hang with me for a second. It's a song where the narrator is looking back over her life. And in hindsight, she's seeing how life has sort of worked itself out. It's a love song, right? So she's realizing that all these moments, the seemingly mundane things, have somehow led her to the person she's singing about. Kind of like there was this constant invisible string guiding them together and bringing her to this person. It's a pretty cool concept, right? I mean, haven't you thought of your own life in that way at least once? Have you ever picked apart the threads and realized that a moment you thought was so insignificant turned out to be something huge? For followers of Jesus, this phenomena that allows us to see that isn't some invisible string. It's God, who we believe is the ultimate author over everything, including the individual, seemingly mundane details of our lives. And we have this promise about that God in Romans 8:28. It says, "And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them." I love how it says we know, not we hope or we think or we wish. There's a level of assurance there. And the promise is that Jesus is that ultimate authority over everything, including the best and worst moments of our lives. But let's be honest, it's really easy to hear that and even logically believe it, but it's a whole other thing to actually feel it, especially in hard times. Sometimes it doesn't feel like God is working everything out. Sometimes it's just straight up frustrating because you have no idea what he's doing in a given moment. If there's a thread or invisible string, you for sure can't see it, and it's confusing and hard, and it just sucks. And it's okay to feel all of that. It's okay to tell God all of that. The promise doesn't change because of how we feel, because God doesn't change. God remains good and able to work it out on our behalf. And our job is to just continuously invite him in and walk with him again and again. And you know, if I'm really honest, some of the best, most significant moments in my life have followed the hardest. If I didn't have an identity crisis my senior year of high school, I never would have ended up at the college I went to. If I didn't go through a horrible breakup while in college, I never would have said yes to a program that led me to my current job. And if I didn't have suddenly terribly noisy neighbors move into my apartment building, I never would have had to get out of that place so fast that I said yes to moving in with a family that would go on and change my life. And I bet if you look at the threads of your life, the invisible strings, you'd see similar things. God continuously working it out on your behalf for good, even if the outcome was totally different than anything you could have ever wanted or expected. And seeing those threads doesn't necessarily change how we feel in our current circumstances. Trusting God in the unknown and waiting is still hard, but the threads remind us of the promise. And as we fight to see and remember them, we can continue trusting and walking with God day by day through whatever tangled mess we find ourselves in. Would you pray with me? God, thank you for the threads that you allow us to see from our past. Thank you that you really do work everything all out for our good. Help us to continue to trust you day by day. Amen.